Everyone has a story, but not every story was told. And today our story is different. It's about autism. If you know a family member who need to know more about autism or suffering with autism, then this episode will be very important for him. I am your host Marzouk Saeed and joined by my dear colleague Abdullah Hindiani. Hello Abdullah.
Hello, Marzouk. Thank you for that lovely introduction. And for today's episode, I'm really excited for it because it's such an important topic. It's a topic that I don't think a lot of people talk about, but it has gained some awareness in recent years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially that some people have misconception about autism.
Yeah.
So I think today we're gonna shed the light with an expert or someone who really lived the experience, Yasmeen AlQallaf.
Yeah, she's basically going to be educating us about autism, especially because, of her personal story. She has a very personal connection to the autism spectrum, I believe they call it, herself. So she's going to be talking to us about her experience. She's going to be educating us. She's going to be bringing awareness to it.
It's gonna be a very important episode, so stay tuned and watch it till the end.
And we are back with Yasmeen AlQallaf, who's going to educate us all about autism. She's an autism specialist. And hello.
Hello. Hi. How are you
That
doing?
was all of a sudden, yeah.
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. What about yourself?
Thank you. I'm okay.
Yeah, I think we should start this episode by saying, for those who don't know, how would you define or, basically illustrate us what autism is?
All right. For me, autism is like a deep ocean. The more you know about it, you still want to know more. So I'll say autism is a different way of being human. Okay.
Okay.
It's affecting the individual with autism, affecting their social interaction, social communication, and social imagination. So people with autism tend to have difficulties to communicate with others, and even when they learn to talk and communicate, they still will miss a lot of social cues, or maybe sometimes they will have trouble facing or doing things in a social situation. Sometimes also they will have sensory issues.
Yeah.
So we see a lot of kids will cover their ears because they don't like certain sounds. Some kids will flap their hands or maybe move a lot or run or
Become very hyper.
hyper. Well, maybe hyper, or maybe they need this movement because it helps them
To communicate.
to balance.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. And I think some people, when they think about autism, they have some misconceptions. What are the most common?
Oh wow, there are a lot actually. One of them, it's outdated. It's called refrigerator mother.
Refrigerator mother.
Refrigerator
Yes,
mother.
yeah,
Interesting.
it's an old theory.
Okay.
It's described the cold and unloved mother, but actually this is very false theory because we understand now that autism is neurodevelopmental disability that's present from birth. So this is one misconception, and I don't know why they blame mother always. There is father
Like,
also.
I think if there's a mother with autism kid, she doesn't care about him.
This is the theory. Yeah,
the theory.
this is the old theory that the mother cannot give love or she never cared about this child. But actually, I think I read an article said that there is a woman give birth to twins, and one of them is autistic and the other one is non-autistic.
He was fine.
Yeah, and both of them, they lived in the same environment and they received the same services from the mother. And this has made this theory false.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
think there's another misconception. That's because I'm personally familiar with it, is that autism has levels, right? It's not one that contains all. Like
And-
there, yeah,
Autism is a huge spectrum.
yeah,
A huge spectrum, like people from, let's say, Einstein, okay, to people who are severely autistic and they have another mental disabilities and learning difficulties as well. I think also we have another misconceptions nowadays about that screens and some TV channels, not your channel of course, but some TV channels
Yeah.
can cause autism. And for me, it's
TV channel can
Yeah.
cause autism.
this is one from the misconception, and I can see like a lot of doctors, a lot of people advocate, they are saying don't give your children the screens. I do agree because everything we have nowadays, it has two
Side.
double sword.
Yes.
Yeah, so there is negative side and positive side. For me, using too much the screens, yes, it can affect and impact the child negatively in terms of maybe speech delay, but not causing him autism. I can see that our kids, they love technology, they love screens, they love TV because it gives them sense of control and also predictability.
That's really cool. And
Yeah.
in regard of misconception, I don't know if it's a misconception, but they usually think they are really talented, like they have some supernatural power. For example, I remember like one time I saw a picture on Instagram for a kid who was like diagnosed with autism, and he was like on the airplane, like discovering the city. And then as soon as he arrived, he was like a teenager.
Draw
Then he
everything.
drove the whole city just from one glimpse.
Yeah, there are many children with autism who have different talent, but again, they are human as us. Some of them will have like strength, and some of them will have weakness. So, but it's not something that we can generalize. It's not fact for
Okay.
everyone under the spectrum is genius or will be like Einstein or whatever.
Talented.
I was just gonna say I think it's a great time to that we have a lot of awareness about autism because I remember when we were growing up, people who now we know that they have autism, they would say, "Oh, هذا معقد. Oh, هذا."
True.
So we didn't have a lot of ideas and information about it, but it's so great that now we have the actual knowledge behind the science.
Exactly, and we still need more. We still need more. I think we are doing really well in Kuwait now. Over the 14 years, I've seen good improvement in the awareness, and I think we are shifting toward the acceptance. I can see there are a lot of initiative. Like now we have friendly sensory cafe,
Yeah.
and we have one day in the cinema. Like one day per month on the cinema is friendly also for autistic people. But we still need more. We still need to see opportunities for those people to have work, to have job. We need also to find educational options for them because nowadays I see we are still facing this problem. Now Yasin is 16 years old. So imagine when he was around 3 or 4 years old, I was struggling to find him a good school to go to mainstream because I can see the potential on him. I can see that he can learn academic.
Yeah.
Still, many people suffer nowadays from this point because the educational system is forcing everybody under the spectrum to be in special need classes. And for me, I cannot really put all autistic people in one box or in one category.
Because they vary.
They are very, because even us, we cannot be in one box. Some of us can learn, some of us A student, some of us C student, and we can see it in our classes.
Exactly.
And before they will name it, this girl is very lazy or this boy is very lazy, but they might have difficulties actually. They are not lazy by default, or they didn't choose to be lazy.
Or they didn't choose to be hyper.
Yeah,
some of
exactly.
them have ADHD, like they cannot control it.
Exactly. So I think now we are doing really well in terms of awareness and acceptance, but we need more to offer those people services and educational opportunities and work opportunities to make those people thrive.
Of course, definitely. And I know you mentioned Yasin, Allah Hafظah.
Yeah.
So was he the reason that you decide like to specialize in this field, or were there like any other family member?
No, Yasin was the one. Sure, Yasin now is 16, as I said. He diagnosed with autism around 2 years old. So we have like a long journey filled with surprises, challenges, and deep sense of pride.
What were some of the challenges at the beginning, like when you know your child is diagnosed with autism? Like what was your reaction, how you dealt with?
It was mixed emotion, honestly. In the very beginning, I was very prepared. So I called to book appointment, to see the doctors, take consultation, running from here and there. But once that was formal and they wrote on the paper that Yasin matched the criteria of autism, I said goodbye to everyone in the room. So That was in the day that they were diagnosing him. We worked with multidisciplinary team, so pediatric, OT, speech therapist. So as soon as they announce, I grade everyone and then went back home. I took the phone and I phoned his pediatric and I told her, please, I don't really believe that my son has autism, so can you please repeat the exam for him? And she said, I understand what you are going through. She was very understanding because actually I wasn't that polite. I said, you are lying to me.
You couldn't like accept
I
what's
didn't
happening.
accept it. I didn't like it
Mm.
because there are a lot of no's. A lot of, no, he won't be able to do this. He won't be able to speak. He might only use his picture. Okay, in the beginning we used something called PECS with Yasmeen.
PECS?
Yeah, it's
Stands
Picture
for?
Exchange Communication System
Okay.
because he has no ability to speak and communicate to us.
But let's go just a little bit before that.
Yeah.
Before there was an official diagnosis, how did you suspect that your child was on the spectrum? Like, what were the signs?
Right. Okay. Before that, I have no clue what autism is, to be honest. I never heard it in my life. Maybe I heard it twice, once in the college,
Mm-hmm.
and even I heard it and I don't know what is it. And once when Yasin received the diagnosis. So at the age of 6 months, we did the circumcision operation
yeah.
for him. And I've noticed that he has no reaction to pain at all. So no crying, not even bothered by the doctor, nothing. His dad told me our son is strong. And then I told him, I don't think so. I think he has problem or issue with the nervous system. But at that time, I just said the word. I don't know what I'm talking about, to be
Yeah.
honest. We
The
left the
mother's
room.
instincts, they call.
Yeah, we left the room. I never thought of it until he reached the age of 2 years. Before that, by 1 month, I start to notice there is no eye contact. He never responds to his name. Like even if you die in front of him, you say, Yasin, Yasin, Yasin. So I used to think that he doesn't know his name or maybe he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
He will act like deaf. Okay, so if you give him any order, he will not respond.
But he can hear clearly.
He can hear, yeah. Shower time was miserable because he
How
will
so?
scream, He will never like water to touch his eyes or his head. He has some words, but he lost them. So he used to say mama, baba, tuta, juice, shoes. And he started to not use those words. So for me, it's like you have a laptop and you
Reformat.
get shut down for this laptop. It was the same with Yasin. And also he was very much on in his little own world. He's not like the other kids. There is like a huge difference between him and his sister. So from that time, we went to the health visitor. In England, they have this service that they do checkup, too much checkup for the child before the age of 2. And that was the last checkup for him. And with all these worries, I told the health visitor that my son is acting like this and he used to be like that, and now all of that changes happen. So she asked me if there is any problem, any issue at home. Did you move to a different house? And I said to her, no, we just went to Kuwait for 10 days and then we come back. And then from here, she told me that he might be autistic.
And at
And the
that
journey
point,
started from that.
That's where you got to the official diagnosis.
This is not the official
No, I
diagnosis.
mean, that's what got
Yes,
you to the official.
exactly.
and definitely I know like taking that diagnosis wasn't kind of easy. It was very challenging. And I know there was an empowerment moment where all that fear turned into powerful situation. So before we dig deep, we're gonna take a break and then we're gonna be back.
And we're back with Yasmeen AlQallaf. And I want to ask you something very specific because you mentioned that you got the diagnosis for your son about being autistic. I want to talk about, your emotions, your stages of going through the whole process. Like, what did you feel like? How did you process everything?
It was difficult in the beginning. So I used to order a lot of books and read about autism, only to find one thing to tell me that my son is not autistic.
That is normal.
I want to prove it for the whole
I
team.
think this is what they call confirmation bias. Is
Yeah,
that you're looking for this one thing that is gonna confirm your biases.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I went through denial. So, no, my son is not autistic. But I remember once, during that time, I also tried my best to know more and more about autism. So, I attended a class called Diploma in NLP for teenager with autism. And during those days, I was just arguing with the coach. So one from the students, he came to me and he said, "Ma'am, I think you are in the deniable stage, in the denial stage." And then I was like, "What you are talking about?" I think he gave me a slap on my face, really, because I didn't know that there is stages we go through.
Yeah.
And this has helped me a lot to move from denial to another stage till I reach the acceptance stage. It's a long journey, it's not something happened by one night. So after the denial stage, I went through another difficult, well, it's very difficult, very horrible stage where I wanted to take the autism away from Yasin.
Yeah.
And in that time, I think it's very hard because it's like you are living in a conflict. You love your son, but you don't love something that is actually part of him.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of doing diet, doing cleansing, a lot of stuff that it's on the internet, or I've been hearing many stories about how to cure autism. So this is what I tried in the beginning, and then alhamdulillah I reached stage where I accept Yasin as
And
he is
embrace his
with his
situation.
autism, and I tried my best to provide him with services that he needs to improve his quality of life.
Yeah.
Of course, and definitely like going through all these stages, you have learned something about yourself. Because I remember a friend of mine, his son, a friend of mine, okay, his mother, she was to deal with him because he was a narcissistic person. And she learned like to be more patient
Exactly.
and not to criticize him directly and harshly. So she learned something new to develop. So for Yasmeen, what did she learn?
Yes, I learned that don't judge other people from what you see. There is always a story behind what you are seeing. I remember like a very nice story, I really want to say it, is one parent with his son on the train, and his son is around like 16 years old. And he was saying to his dad, "Daddy, I see the sky. The sky is nice. Daddy, I see the trees. Daddy, I see cars." And there are two couples next to them, and they were like looking at this boy and judging him. And then the woman, she couldn't stand the situation, and she asked the dad, "Well, why you don't take your son to a mental doctor to see him, because he's 16 years old and he's still telling you, I see this and I see that. He's acting like 4 years old." And then the dad told her, actually, "Yes, we just finished from the doctor just right now. And my son, he just start to see the world right now."
Oh, okay, okay.
And yeah, Yasin actually taught me this, that never judge other people. There are always story behind it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's the fault of our modern times, that a lot of people immediately go to judge someone even
Exactly.
before
They
they know
come
it.
to conclusions.
Yeah, they come to conclusions.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I want to go for you specifically as a parent of an autistic person. What were the challenges there? Like, how did the road go?
Okay, I think I have emotional challenge in the beginning because I wasn't certain about the future. And I think this is a big deal for many different parents. We don't know what's gonna happen. I had too much worries. Is Yasin gonna marry? Is he gonna be able to work? Is he gonna be able to do this and that? Because in the very beginning, as I said, the therapist told me that there is too much limitation will face Yasin in the future. This is one thing. And then the other thing is about education. That was really hard time to find him a good school. Yasin gets refused from many different schools because of his behavior. And I wanted him to go to normal classes, to the mainstream
Yeah.
classes, but nobody loved to have him. Then, okay, we tried with private schools. And then I came to conclusion, okay, what about I don't say that he has autism and let him join the school? That was a mistake, but I don't really feel guilty about it.
So you don't advise the mothers who are watching us to do it? Or
Everyone will have his story after
Okay.
that, because I have my own story. In that time, he entered the school, everything was okay in the beginning, but then they start to notice that there is something different. So I was in trouble because every single day they will phone me and will tell me, oh, Yasin did this, Yasin did that. Yasin went out of the class. Yasin crushed the biscuit and threw it on the floor. He had meltdown. And then there is an incident happened to Yasin in the school.
Okay.
And from this point, I took him off school and I decided to homeschooling him for 4 years. I lost my trust with anyone. I don't know, maybe it's my issue, but because also of this incident that happened to Yasin,
Yeah.
I said to myself, well, I will take this lead and I will teach him at home. And I can tell that homeschooling really benefit us a great deal. to
I'd
be
imagine
honest.
it also greatly improved the bond between you and your son.
Exactly. Especially that I did that by myself.
Yeah.
I don't advise parents to do everything by themselves because sometimes it can be a burden.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You need help. You need people to support you. You need people with you in this plan. But in that time, because I lost trust with others, so I did
Yeah.
all the things by myself. But I also learned from Yasin a lot. I learned how we can help those kids. So, for example, one of the things that maybe we suffered a lot from it, and then this behavior disappeared because I taught him math. This is something crazy, something really, really big to me. Yasin used to like the chocolate bar,
Okay.
But if you give it to him and it's broken from inside, he will
eat it?
throw a meltdown and he will throw it in the garbage. And this behavior, it was like around 6 months.
So you need to give him like the whole piece completed.
I need to check it before I give him. And then I start to ask myself, why this behavior happening? Some maybe approaches, they will see the behavior from the top, and some approaches will dig deep down to see why he's acting like this, or why he will throw the chocolate bar in the garbage and he will not eat it.
Okay.
So one day I was teaching him math about fractions, half, quarter, and whole, and I bring like paper plate and we cut it together. And this thing actually helped us with the chocolate bar.
Oh.
And now
really?
he's fine with it. Yes.
What was the link?
Because he learned that, for example, the pizza whole, when you cut it into half, it doesn't change the taste, it only changes the shape. And he learned this, if he eat the cocoa bar, the chocolate bar, it will be the same taste if it's broken or if it's full. So there is no flexibility. He has no flexibility at that time. But this lesson teach him how to be flexible.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like a great combination. And there was like a term that I read in autism that called neurodiversity.
Neurodiversity.
Could you elaborate more about it?
Yes, neurodiversity is actually a new term. It's not medical term, it's a social term. It's describe the variety of human brains. So we all have different way of thinking, different way of behaving and learning. So there is no one right way to learn. And people who have neurological disorder,
Okay.
like ADHD and dyslexia and autism, they are all unique. And we need actually to provide those people with services that can help them and match their needs, match this variation of different thinking, different way of learning. Because as I said, the educational system is treat everyone the same. But
like one criteria.
Yes, all of us, we can learn differently if we actually offered the opportunities.
Is that like similar to the theory of like maybe multiple intelligence? Like when it comes to, like language intelligence, sport intelligence?
Yeah, it could be. And also, like, some autistic people can learn within a group. Some others, they can learn individually,
Yeah.
one by one. Some they need smaller group.
What you
If
have learned
we-
about Yasin in that term?
Yasin, it helped him very much one by one, and then moved to a smaller group, and then now he is in inclusion classes.
So gradually.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think if our kids missed this gradual, they will miss the opportunity to learn.
Yeah, and I think because unfortunately we're kind of running out of time, I do want to leave you with one question. Is that if you have an advice or if you have something to tell to people who are, especially those who are still in denial, or they got, those first stages of knowing their kid might be autistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you have to tell them?
Okay. I wished if somebody tapped me on my shoulder on the beginning and told me, okay, it's difficult in the beginning, but it's not the end, because I thought this diagnosis is the end. That's it. There is nothing else we can do. And I wish if they told me that this is a new journey, you have a new step to go on. And this is not less than any journey, it's just different.
Yeah.
Definitely. Very nice advice, vital advice, I think. And there's a lot of people who have children, or maybe they have like someone, a family member suffering, or like maybe diagnosed with autism. If you would like to know more about this, then you should follow Yasmeen AlQallaf, because she's not only here to share her experience, but she also share her experience on Instagram, and she has like a lot to offer. Very valuable
Thank you.
profile. You can really follow her and learn even more.
Thank you very much for having me today.
Sure,
Yeah.
we were enjoyed actually, and thank you for shedding the lights on this specific topic.
Thanks a lot.
Definitely. And now we're gonna go for a quick break, and then we're gonna be back.
So unfortunately, that was all of the time we've had on The Untold. As with every topic we discuss on The Untold, this was such an important piece of information that we've had. We've had a lovely conversation with Yasmeen AlQallaf. She educated us so much about, autism, awareness to it, how to deal with it, the emotional stages of, first getting the diagnosis.
Yes, I think like her talk and the insight that she shared, it's really touched every mother or every father who has like a son or a daughter diagnosed with autism, because
Yeah.
like the stages they go through and everything, it's really remarkable how to see like the human nature can really affect one another just by sharing stories.
Yeah, and I was also very admirable of the amount of courage and patience that she showed. She mentioned that her son was diagnosed when he was 2 years old, and he's 16 years old now. So having to deal with that through all of those years, and she was there with him, she homeschooled him, she was, with him every step of the way. That's more than courage.
Definitely. And I think Wonder Woman is not in the movies. Wonder Woman is Yasmeen AlQallaf and all the mothers who are suffering and also like trying to adapt with their child circumstances so they can be better and empower their children in future.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we got to wrap this episode.
Exactly.
So that was all of the time we've had on The Untold. Until next time, goodbye.
See you later.